eye contact, it makes you feel uncomfortable. It makes you feel awkward. Now, you could have the best message in the world, but if you're getting nervous when you have to stare at another person's eyes, you're not going to be able to get that message across in the best way. And that's why I'm going to show you how to give eye contact on a one-to-one basis, but not only that, how to do it in a public speaking environment. So it not only feels natural, but then you can get your message across in an effective way. But before I get into that, if you want the blueprint to create an influential presentation, the link is below for this poster, completely free, and alongside this, you will get 11 emails, which means if you've just stopped the video, just screenshot this because you can see it, I'm literally gonna show you it, you won't get the 11 emails as well. And why was I wearing these glasses? I don't know, it was just to do with eye contact, and I thought, good hook, but let's get into it. That is my notes for the video. Now let's get into hack number 1. Now from my great artistic design, you can tell that is 2 eyes and a nose. Now the first hack that you are going to do is the triangle method, because people get awkward and uncomfortable when they have to look at one spot. You know when you want to order a Chinese with your mates and the guy that gets on the phone always has to move. He has to get out his chair and he has to go on a walk as he's phoning the Chinese because he feels uncomfortable doing it in one spot. It's the same with eye contact. If you just look at one spot and you don't move off whatsoever, that is what makes you feel uncomfortable. But there's a subtle change that the other person cannot even tell when you are doing it that will make all the difference for you. And it's this triangle drill. We have 1 eye, 2 eyes, and 1 nose. You are gonna look at each one of them. You're gonna look at eye number 1 for 3 seconds, the nose for 3 seconds, then eye number 2 for 3 seconds. Like right now, I'm looking on the right side of my lens. But right now, I'm looking at the bottom of my lens. Now I want you to guess, which side of the lens am I looking at now? I've looked at the right side. And you see, you can't even tell the difference when I'm looking at the lens. Just like the person you're looking at can't tell the difference when you are switching from eye to eye, then down to the nose. And it's this subtle change which will make you feel more comfortable, but the other person can't even tell. And it's this little hack, which literally in a space of 10 seconds, can make your confidence go from down here to up here. But it's all good just doing this hack. But how can you look at someone and within the first 3 seconds you feel comfortable looking at this random person? Because even though this is on a one-to-one basis, we want to get this to a public speaking environment. So how can you? Well, you're gonna do this when you're walking around in the street. And the best people to do this with is randomers. We have person A, which is you. We have person B, which is a randomer. When you are walking past randomers, you are going to try and lock eyes and smile with this random person. And you might think, why a randomer? Well, when you do it with people you know, you automatically feel a bit more comfortable. So we're going to do it to random people because there's no consequence if you do it badly. Like they're going to walk away, they're going to go on with their day. You're going to walk away and you're going to get on with your day. But what you don't want to do is do it when you are in line. Let's say you're here and they are here. It's too late. You need to make sure you have that distance, like here, in between yourself and this random person. So you can lock eyes with them and just smile. That's it. But this will help you become comfortable with giving eye contact to random people. Because when you do public speaking, you will end up giving eye contact to random people. Because all it is for public speaking is a massive group, but within that, you will have little one-to-one exchanges where you have to give eye contact with random people. And that's why I've gone through the one-to-one situations first. But now, let's get into the public speaking side, which is 1 to several. When there's a crowd in front of you, you have 6 sections. You have the left side, the middle, and the right side. And then we're gonna split it in between. What you don't want to do is scan. And by scanning, I mean look at the top, then the bottom, and go in this formation. Imagine someone being on stage and doing this. It does not look professional. Now, I had a big issue in trying to improve my eye contact because I'd go to Toastmasters and Bob over here, Bob used to say, Steph, you need to work on your eye contact. So I thought, all right, next speech, I'm gonna work on my eye contact. And in Toastmasters, you also get evaluators. Every speech that you do, you have an evaluator to give you feedback on how you did. So the next week, I have Jane and I'm thinking, I'm gonna smash this speech. I'm gonna give good eye contact, I'm gonna connect with the audience. I did the speech and Jane said, Steph, you need to work on your eye contact. And I've thought to myself, I've been trying to work on my eye contact. Can you not tell the difference? And they thought I put no effort into trying to improve my eye contact. But then the session after that, I had Greg. Now Greg said, Steph, your eye contact was great. And there was one thing that made the difference. But before I get into that one drill that you can do that can make all the difference to your eye contact when it comes to giving a public speech, like I said, if you want to get the blueprint to creating an influential presentation, because it's all good being able to give this eye contact, but if you can't create a good message to give whilst giving this eye contact, it is pointless. Alongside that, you will get 11 emails. And below, you will see 3 links. They are all free resources that you can use. We have this poster, which is all about presentations. We have the second link, which is all about your confidence in speaking. And then the third link is all about my Dials formula to improve your communication, delivery, improv, auditory, language, and storytelling. But let's get back into the video. Now, what is that one drill? Well, I'm gonna get up my DJI to show you. Testing, testing, the mic is on. Let me plug it in. Booyah! Right now, where I am sitting, that is your stage. Number 1, when you are practicing and rehearsing your speech, make sure you are stood up. Because if you aren't stood up, it's not relative to what you are doing. For example, I don't go sparring at the gym sat down because when I'm fighting, I'm stood up. So why would you do the same thing when you are speaking? It doesn't make sense. Yes, I'm doing a YouTube, but I'm not practicing for my specific public speech. Whenever you practice, always stand up to make it realistic to how you would be doing it on stage. Number 2, you're gonna get post-it notes. Now, unfortunately, I've run out of post-it notes. I'm gonna put a photo over this as well after, so you can understand exactly how I do this. But obviously you can see my lights, you can see my camera, but behind that there is a wall. And on that wall right there, let's turn the lights on. You are gonna put random post-it notes on this wall. You can have some down here. You can have some up here. Now, it's up to you how many you put on the wall. But for an easy number, you could get 10. And within that, they would be in different segments. You might have some at the top. You might have some at the bottom. You might have some on the left-hand side. I hope that's the left-hand side when it comes to editing. So if it's not, it's the left-hand side. Now, who is playing Thai music outside? Who is playing? We'll wait for that to pass. We're gonna cut that out. Or you could have it on the right-hand side. Now, when you are rehearsing your speech, instead of just rehearsing it or saying the words, you are gonna stand up and you can walk towards the wall whilst looking at these post-it notes, because those post-it notes are gonna reflect a real person. And the aim here is to finish a sentence with a post-it note. So now we're not just looking straight, we're looking at the 6 segments that each stage has. Oh, let me turn my lights off and then we'll get back on the real camera. But by doing this drill, it makes it real. Because before, I would always just rehearse a speech. I'd either just sit down or I'd stand up and I'd speak out my script. But I'd just look at the same point. So that's why I'd put these random post-it notes on the wall within these 6 segments of the crowd. And it worked. When I went to Toastmasters next, they complimented my eye contact. And I put it down to this drill. But sometimes doing this drill is not enough because you will get an awkward or angry looking audience member that you don't want to look at anymore. And when you get one of them, it doesn't matter how many times you do this drill, you're still gonna feel a little bit different inside. And that feeling can put you off your whole speech. And if it's a speech that is for work and there's real stakes on the line and that could cost you the deal, this will make all the difference. You are the one speaking, which means you get to choose who you look at. Now there's 6 segments to a stage, but if there's someone within that segment that's really moody or isn't laughing to what you're saying whilst everyone else is laughing, just don't look at them. Now, you want people to like what you are saying, but sometimes that's not the case. And if someone is putting you off from your speech, just don't look at them anymore. Look at the segments. But sometimes maybe it's a meeting and there's only 6 people in the meeting. So you have to look at them because if you purposely ignore them, everyone is going to know. Now, this is the final hack that you can take in consideration, and it's very similar to the triangle trick. Before, you looked at one eye, then the other eye, then the nose. Now, you can still do that, But another little hack that I started to realize was looking at people's necks. Because when you are on a stage and you are quite far back, my head position does not change if I'm looking at your neck or I'm looking at your eyes. And because it doesn't change, it's very hard for the audience to realize that you're looking at their neck. They literally can't because you're that far back. When you start to feel uncomfortable or you have an awkward audience member, instead of looking them directly in the eyes and putting you off your whole script, you can just look at their neck instead. And when you can use this neck technique whilst looking at each segment of the stage, there will never be a person listening to you that you can't look at anymore. Because if they make you feel uncomfortable, you literally just lower your vision down slightly, and that will allow you to feel comfortable, keep your script, and get your message out in a way that you want to get it out. And that is this video. The free resources are in the links below if you want any of them. Put your email in the link and I will send it over. And although eye contact is very important to public speaking, if your job involves any sort of public speaking, you definitely want to avoid these mistakes because it may cost you. Anyway, see you later on.